All right, folks, as you know, Bitcoin has been on fire this year, renewing hopes that it will live up to very lofty future predictions. Now, a big reason for this has been the introduction of Bitcoin ETFs, rather. And one of the major players in the problems, having some problems here recently. Now, despite ringing the opening bell, I think the reason why you saw Grayscale really trending all day long was the fact that there have been some serious issues. Well, let's call them issues at the firm and their Bitcoin ETF launch. I want to bring in now their CEO, Grayscale, Michael Sonnenshein. Michael, let's just start with that, because what happened? I mean, I see all these charts. 600 million outflow from GBTC today.
Sure,
that's a lot. 2 steps forward, 1 step back. I mean, what's going on?
Well, I think we have to really think about how it was that GBTC came to market. When GBTC uplisted in January of this year on the New York Stock Exchange, it had nearly $30 billion of assets under management. And it really paved the way for all the other spot Bitcoin ETFs to come to market, really just starting from scratch, no investors, no track record,
right.
et cetera.
I mean, you guys definitely were the Trailblazers in this.
Indeed. And, outflows from a fund of that size for the track record that it has, these were things that we expected, right? We had investors that were arbitrageurs that we knew would be profit taking. We knew that there were going to be some major bankruptcies within the crypto space that may have some forced liquidations out of the fund. And so we're not surprised to see these outflows from the fund, and instead are really focused on how GBTC is really becoming a capital markets allocation tool.
How much do the fees play a role in this? It feels like right now the battle is for immediate market share, and that at the expense perhaps of profits. And who can carve out the biggest piece of the pie right now?
Well, I think when we talk to investors, we talk to financial advisors, right? That's a brand new community that can look at spot Bitcoin ETFs. Fee is actually just one component that they look at, right? And so GBTC, we continue to feel, does bring a differentiated value to investors. It has a 10-year track record, very large size, very large liquidity, tight spreads. And those are some of the things that investors like, not to mention that it's backed by Grayscale. We're a crypto specialist firm. We've been doing this the longest. And so it's good now that investors have choice, but sure, fee is one of the things they do look at.
You're pushing for options. How would that work?
Well, there are now several Bitcoin futures ETFs on the market. Those have been in the market now for probably two years at this point. And it was only a day after the Bitcoin futures ETFs launched that there were options made available on Bitcoin futures ETFs. However, spot Bitcoin ETFs have now been in market, let's say, the last 6 or so weeks, and we still don't have options available on spot Bitcoin ETFs. So we've submitted a comment letter to the SEC to advocate for this. This is important for investors, for price discovery, for managing their positions, and we feel like this will lead to really a more robust environment around these products.
Michael, I was a skeptic. I knew about Bitcoin. I should be a trillionaire right now. I mean, there were some smart people trying to get me in this over a decade ago.
Okay.
I started to come around because of more smart people. One is Jim Bianco. He was on earlier today. Now, you talked about the democratization of Bitcoin and others via these ETFs. I want you to listen to what Jim Bianco has to say about his concerns about these ETFs in general.
Sure.
The whole idea, as you pointed out, is that this blockchain runs by itself. No one can put dominion over it. The government can't, bad actors can't. That's if it's running properly. And therefore, it provides a safe environment for anybody to hold their digital assets. But when you start getting it centralized by having ownership like through an ETF and others, you're allowing powerful actors to maybe have the ability to start dictating terms.
Centralization, decentralization. Is there legitimacy? Any legitimacy to what Jim was worried about here?
Well, I think the best analogy to what he's speaking to is actually what we've seen in the gold market or other precious metals. People and investors can still buy gold directly, hold gold directly, but we've also seen a big innovation in ETFs with gold going into the ETF wrapper as recently as about 20 years ago. And both use cases still exist. Investors hold gold directly, they also get gold exposure through gold ETFs. In the Bitcoin world, we're seeing a very similar innovation where investors have and they may, very well may continue to hold Bitcoin directly, but when it comes to adding it to their portfolios, maybe into their retirement accounts, it's hard to do that with Bitcoin directly. And so the Bitcoin ETF is really an innovation, really is a step forward. But I think it's a little too early to say that that trends towards centralization within what is obviously a very decentralized asset.
All right. Hey, congratulations.
Thank you.
You really have done an amazing job, and a lot of investors are happy the doors that you knocked off, and you've blown these doors out, and I know that more is going to come. Thanks a lot, Michael.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.